Hello there. We have a beautiful evening out here in the garden. And I'm going to take you through a little tour, just give you an update on how the garden is looking here at the end of May. Hopefully I can get this done while we still have light. The sun is setting, but it's just like that beautiful golden hour out here and everything's looking so good. The plants are doing so well. So I had to just give you the update, take you through every plant, all through the container garden here. So almost entirely containers. I have one tiny area of in-ground planting, but this is almost a complete container garden. If you're new here, my name is Anna and welcome to the garden. I'm going to start with this bed, which is one of my favorites. So it is actually a container. It's on the patio here, but this is my mini kitchen garden in a container. So the whole garden here is kind of has all the pieces of a kitchen garden in one container. Well, it's a raised bed. It's just about 2x4 raised bed, but everything is doing so well. I've been so happy with these plants, how well they're growing together, which is always kind of the test, I think, with a container, is not only how it looks and how it performs, but then just how the plants kind of grow together, and how they all do growing around each other. And this little kitchen garden is just, it's looking so good. So let me flip the camera around and I'll give you a closer look of everything that we've got. All right, so front and center is this Japanese eggplant, which is becoming such a beautiful, stunning centerpiece plant. It's looking so good. It's got that really dark purple stem, and now it is starting to get its first flower. And it's also starting to branch a little bit, which is exciting. I mean, I think it's gonna really take over this full central section of the bed. And I have left a few of the lower leaves to provide some shade for the Swiss chard and the strawberries, and I'll keep kind of pruning it and trimming it as we go and as it kind of takes over. But it's so beautiful, and that purple veining I think is so stunning. I also like it because it's not too prickly. Some eggplants do get a lot of spines on the leaves and everything, and this one is really it's pretty clear. Like there really aren't any poking spines or anything on it. It's just beautiful plant. And then underneath it we have the rhubarb Swiss chard, which is started to take off. I think is benefiting from a little bit of shade that comes from the eggplant. But Swiss chard is just such a fun green because it can handle a little bit more heat. It's for summer, if you're gonna have like a summer green, it's great. And so I'm actually gonna start harvesting. They're just about baby green sized leaves. For my husband always has a sandwich for lunch and wants to have greens on it, and these are gonna be perfect. So I'm gonna start harvesting those pretty soon here. This is about, like a really good size for a baby green. Next to the rhubarb Swiss chard, we have some of this Eversweet strawberries, which they had a bunch of flowers on them when I first got them, and we got a decent little flush of strawberries, and then it's kind of mellowed out. I don't see many flowers on here, so I'm kind of keeping an eye, but they've just recently really started to put on a lot of growth. Like I'm noticing all of these runners. So I've kind of been putting the runners off toward the front because I think it'd be cute if we've got runners coming off like the front of this raised bed, and hopefully they start blooming again soon. Next to the strawberries, the salad bush cucumbers are putting on so much growth. These are one of my favorite varieties of, it's a small kind of container variety cucumber. It's gonna be producing, just wait till this plant starts producing. It's gonna be amazing, and they're looking beautiful. So I've got a repeat of the cucumbers over here, and then I also have a repeat of the lemonade cosmos, and I think this was an Oklahoma mix zinnia, all growing really beautifully at a great speed, just what I would expect, looking really good. And the chives too, I mean, these are ready. They were so spindly and little when I got them. I was kind of worried that it would be a while before I could harvest, but they're ready now. So I actually think I'm gonna make a potato salad here in the next week or so, and I will definitely be harvesting some chives for that. That'll be perfect. And over here we've got kind of the bigger plants, the two other big plants that you can see. The Roma tomato is starting to do exactly what I wanted, which is spill out over the edge of this container, and there are a whole bunch of flowers in here. So hopefully we're gonna have a ton of Roma tomatoes on this plant. And I'm gonna have to keep, you know, coming in, as you can see, and kind of pruning things, but they're all just growing together beautifully. We've got a nice sweet basil that's ready. I could definitely come in and harvest some of that. And then this is, I think the snack, was this a snack? Lunchbox. Yeah, lunchbox orange pepper that is loaded with blooms. Look at all those. So that's going to be a really, really productive pepper plant. And I'm really encouraged to see, I think actually the first pepper might be, yes, the first pepper is starting to form. Wait, look. That's exciting. Oh my gosh, I'm really encouraged to see that it's not stretching or anything. In my previous garden, I never quite had enough sunlight, so a lot of my plants, like my peppers and everything, would really stretch because it was always kind of part shade where I was growing. So having this like a full sun, super intense sun garden is such a different experience for me, and it's fun to see like a pepper like that stay so squatty. It is a lunchbox pepper, and I'm trying to think, I didn't even look how tall. It doesn't say how tall it's gonna get when it matures, but maybe, given that it has the smaller size fruit, I mean, the lunchbox pepper size is referring to the fruit size, but I don't know. We'll see if it's more of like a dwarf style plant too. That could be really interesting. It would be perfect, again, kind of just spilling out the side of the container. Like that's totally what I'm looking for. And so then I repeated the flowers over on the other side of this bed, and then I just have some green onion seeds in here, just some scallions, and they're doing well too. I may pop in like a few more in some of these holes. You know, with the green onions, they're bunching onions. You can have them grow pretty close together, and you can either do like cut and come again, where, you know, you just take off the biggest like leaves as you go and harvest, or you can just harvest out the whole plant. So I could probably, you know, do with coming in and just throwing in a few more seeds, and then I'd have kind of a succession in here, but we'll see. I'm not quite sure yet. Right now I feel like I'm doing pretty well with this spacing, even though there's a lot of plants in this container. As you can see, everything is just, it's growing well together, and the spacing I feel like is good. Like it's looking good. And then in front of it here, nothing, well, a little bit of growth. This is the beans and the corn. You can see the corn is just coming up. So these are some dragon tongue bush beans and bloody butcher corn. Such a funny name on that one. But look at the very first corn. This is gonna be such a cool container, just really for decorative purposes. I mean, I probably will be able to harvest off the beans, I would imagine, but the corn, yeah, it's just gonna be fun and decorative, and I just wanted to put it in this long like window box container, and I can move it around if I want to, or I can keep it in front of this bed. I would imagine the corn's gonna get at least a few feet tall, probably not its full height, but a few feet tall, so I may end up moving that container. And then over here, look at this. I love this. So technically a raised bed, it's like a 2-foot, pretty much circular Vego garden bed, but I have it on the patio. So it's a container for all intents and purposes because it's not connecting down to the ground. So much fun in here. So of course the star of the show, well, we've got two competing stars. This is the Sunfinity sunflower, which is about to bloom and is just growing by the day, just growing by the day. And then we've got this beautiful amaranth. Let me pull out my tag so I remember, I can tell you exactly what the varieties are. This is an autumn torch to autumn touch amaranth. Look at the color on that. I just love that. I just think it's so beautiful. And then down below it, we've got a ruby slipper coleus that is getting a little bit of, you know, kind of shaded out, but I think it's going to start coming in and filling in this section, putting on a little bit of height. And we'll just kind of see how we do with the amaranth growing around it. And then this beautiful Vermilion Arcufia, which has just taken off and is so stunning. And I love the combination of that kind of orangey red with the Cufia. Like, look at how many buds are on this plant. Absolutely magnificent. Next to the green, blue fortune pincushion flower, which I almost love the sort of seed head of the pincushion flower too. I do need to come in and do some deadheading. I wanted to pick a few, actually, I'm gonna do that now, that are in this stage. Let me see if I can get it to show. Because I think this would be kind of cute in a vase as sort of like a dried flower. So I should come in. You know, with flowers, the more you deadhead, typically the more blooms you get. So it's a good, important part of the process. And this plant is loaded with buds, which is really fun to see. I mean, there's just a ton under there coming up more. It's a beautiful plant. Absolutely love it. Been enjoying it so much. And it's kind of pretty as like a little dried flower too. I will come back and pick those up. Then next to that, we've got this beautiful container. So we've got the Mystic Spires Salvia, which look at the size of that flower stalk. And there's a ton more just popping off in every direction. This is going to become a huge, big, beautiful pollinator attracting flower. And then underneath it, we've got the creamsicle superbena. And we've got this really pretty linaria. So just, I love the orange with the blue. That container has been really fun. And then of course, some pink petunias. These were some of the first flowers that I got out here in the garden, and they've stayed kind of small. But even though they've stayed small, they're just chugging away and they just keep blooming, blooming, blooming. I just been fertilizing them as much as I can. I do need to come in. I'm dealing with a little bit of budworm. You can see this flower does not have quite as many flowers as you would expect. And my spray bottle broke this past week. And I need to come in and spray these so that my flowers stop being eaten, and then we'll get more blooms. I've got another one of these flowers over on the other side of the garden that's looking more like we would expect. Really stunning. One of my favorite flowers this year. It's beautiful. But as you can see, yeah, we're dealing with a little bit of pest damage. So I got to get my Thuricide spray bottle sorted out quickly so that I can make sure we keep getting the blooms. And I love that with just this classic salvia. This plant is producing so many flowers. It really peaked this week. I think we're at like peak, and then it'll probably start fading a little bit and we'll have another reflush. But it's just been spreading out and blooming and just filling in. And I love the blue with the orange, like purpley blue with the orange is such a gorgeous combination. And then I have this lamb's ear here that I started from seed. That's not really, I don't know. It's been very slow growing. So I'm kind of just watching it, and I keep fertilizing it, and I don't really know. And then over here, this is my container that's got the little Napoli tomato, some oregano, some Thai basil that never like grew. I don't know what the deal with that was. It never really grew or did anything. But I did get my first Roma tomato off of here. It's a Roma style tomato, the little Napoli tomato plant. This also one has been kind of funny. Like, the leaves are just really tiny. I don't know what the deal is. But we're gonna get another tomato pretty soon here. It's got a bunch of fruit and flowers, so hopefully we get some more. I don't know. This container is gonna be one I'll probably have to switch out here. I don't really, yeah. It's a little fun. It's kind of an old container also. It's one of the first that I put together this spring, and I think that the potting soil that I had for that first round of containers, it must not have been very good, or I don't know, like somewhat defective, because none of the plants really like put on the kind of growth, and I had some issues even with some of the kind of germination. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if there was something going on with the potting soil, if it was just too cold maybe when I planted them, although that would kind of surprise me. It gets chilly at night, but we've had some really warm days. So I don't know. It's been kind of an interesting thing with all the containers that I've had with that original batch of potting soil. It's just a little funny. Let me show you the warty thing pumpkin, which another one of my garden favorites this year. So the Stillwater's clematis here is past its prime, and it's just kind of doing what it does. Hopefully we'll get another flush of blooms on that. But this bed, which I did not fill all the way up with soil, which I do regret now. I wish I'd just gone ahead and since I'm only gardening in this garden for a year and then we're moving, I didn't want to invest in filling all the containers with potting soil. I thought, oh my gosh, we're only going to be here for so long, so what's the point of filling it? But now I do kind of regret it. Like, I feel bad for this little pumpkin. But pretty soon it'll be growing out of this container. So this is the warty thing pumpkin. This is another squash, which I've completely forgotten. I need to come out and label this. And I had a third squash, and that one did not even, it like came up and shriveled up and died. So I don't know what that seedling did, but the warty thing pumpkin is the star. And truly this is going to become such a huge vine that we hardly need to worry about having anything else in this bed. Although I do have some beautiful broom corn, which just looks so lovely and is going to be nice and majestic. I actually stuck a couple seeds for the bloody butcher corn in here too. So shh, don't tell. But the corn will be kind of like a built-in trellis for this other plant that I have growing in here. And this is the Aunt Molly's, Aunt Molly, I think, is it the Aunt Molly's or is it the pineapple? Oh my gosh, which one did I plant? Well, it's ground cherry. So these are gonna be really fun ground cherries. My daughters are gonna love these. They're kind of, if you don't know ground cherries, it's kind of like a mix between like a fruit, you know, maybe a fruity cherry or pineapple tasting kind of thing, and a tomato. It kind of has a tomato texture, but they're really sweet and the girls love them. And so my thought is that they'll grow in through the corn. The pumpkin will grow out of the container and then they'll grow up in the corn and they'll just have it as like a support here. And I think it's gonna be really pretty and cool if it turns out like I envision it. Okay, the light is fading, but hopefully we can get through the garden. This is the bishop's flower, one of the highlights of the garden this month. It has come up, it is taking off. It has the most beautiful Queen Anne's lace, which is such a sentimental flower to me. Like it screams country road, side of the country road, and that makes me happy. I miss nature and being further out in the country and visiting country roads, and so this makes me think of home, and I love it. It is absolutely gorgeous. And then the double Dutch rose cosmos is prolific. It is just growing so beautifully. I've been trying to come out here. Oops. See, I need to come deadhead this with my garden shears, but it has just been blooming so beautifully and just jam-packed, great size, gorgeous in the container. Got some more corn that hasn't come up yet, and then we've got the gypsy pepper here just putting on blooms and growing really happily in its own little container. Another strawberry. You can see the pest damage. I have to get out and spray these. They were looking so much better a couple days ago, and then I stopped spraying because my spray bottle broke, and you can just see how much damage, so I have to get in there and treat that. But this is the lavender super bean calibrachoa, Congo lavender calibrachoa, and it's gorgeous. It's a really beautiful color. Let's look in this bed. So the tumbler tomato is putting on a ton of tomatoes. You can see there's a bunch of tomatoes in here, like tons and tons and tons, and totally, again, I didn't fill these beds, mistake. And then the tumbler tomato is a determinate style tomato, would have been great in a container. It's not in a container, so it's just kind of tumbling and filling everything up. There are some indeterminate tomatoes in here too that I need to deal with. They're kind of getting wild, and I don't know what they are. They're mysteries because I had all kinds of mishaps with my seedlings. So we'll see. It looks to be some kind of cherry tomato, so that will be fun to enjoy that. There's quite a few tomatoes on this plant actually, so that's kind of nice. And oh my gosh, there's just so many good things in this bed. And yeah, there's a few mystery tomatoes, and look, I mean, they've got, let's see if I can find it. Where'd it go? They've got fruit on them, tons of blooms, a little pear-shaped fruit. So that is exciting. A few more mystery tomatoes, more bishop's flower. This is some agerantum that I started from seed that is coming up, and I'm actually really excited for these to bloom. This is going to be a black pincushion flower. That's gonna be great. I probably could come in here and do a little bit of maintenance in this bed. Would be good. This is the milk. Oh, I got a pest. Ooh, I've got a pest. Okay, deal with that. But this is the milk thistle, and look at that bloom. This is a fun one. You know, typically we think of thistles as a weed, but I really do think they're beautiful, and especially in a garden like this that is so contained, to have some like strategically planted wild looking flowers, I think is fun. So this is a milk thistle. It can get up to 6 feet tall. We'll see how big it gets, but it's already putting off tons of blooms. And I don't know, I didn't really know what to expect actually with this. And so, never mind. Everyone has a corner like that in their garden. But yeah, I didn't really quite know what to expect with it. It's very, very pokey. You have to be very careful. Some more Agerantum, really pretty. And I did stick a double Dutch Cosmos in here, which is beautiful. A little lost because again, I didn't fill the raised bed, but it's gorgeous. This is a little, oh, these are the seed plants I ordered online, and they just, I don't know if it's me or ordering them online. They haven't done well, but I've got some other things I've got to plant. Look at that. That is a Color Blaze Albrighto Coleus. I'm just gonna think might even put it in a pot by itself. This is the in-ground like raised space where I threw in a few sunflower seeds and some corn, and there's a few coming up. So we'll see how that area does. I'm not really sure, but I'm really hoping that at least some of the things come up. And then this is the gorgeous hanging basket, which is now kind of a sitting basket. But look, the lantana opened. So pretty. And the blueberry muffin petunia is so stunning. Oh my gosh, and so is this guy. I love these petunias. I'm kind of really into petunias this year. They just make me happy. And of course the mango tango. Gotta love that. But yeah, the petunias are just beautiful, and this whole combination is looking so good. Just really, really love this whole container. And yeah, I ended up sticking it on a pot. We'll see if I ever end up hanging it anywhere, or it may just live like this and I may end up moving it to a different spot in and around the garden bed. We'll kind of see what happens, but it's really pretty. And even like that, I think it's kind of fun, a little different. Maybe not all by itself, but we'll get that sorted out. And then over here, I planted some more broom corn that hasn't come up yet. We've got another just stunning Linaria crown jewels, looking really beautiful and just sort of like wayward and fresh. And then this container is doing really well too. You can see, I talked about this a little bit, the size of this Sunfinity sunflower is so much smaller than the one in the big container because it's obviously just got less root space, but it's really still beautiful and we're getting the first blooms. But look how happy this Vermillionaire Kufia is. It is just covered and it looks so pretty with this is the Conga Lavender Calibrachoa. This one is doing a little bit better, not having quite so many pest issues. And it's, I mean, that, what more can you ask? That level of flowers. And then, yeah, this whole container is making me really happy. So it just is interesting. There's one sunflower and you can see the other one over there, so much bigger. Little puddle from watering. Over here are my gold coin sunflowers. So I started these from seed and these are coming up. Let's see, does anyone else do this? I'm like, I gotta help you. Actually, especially out in my super dry garden, although I did just water a little while ago. I don't know, I feel like I need to save them, but yeah, so we're gonna have some other sunflowers from seed in containers, which will be fun. And it'll be interesting to kind of compare how they do with the Sunfinity. There's just something really beautiful about sunflowers in the garden. This is I think Blackheart sweet potato vine. That's a beautiful color combination too. Kind of the purple with a deep purple sweet potato vine. It's funny, I was talking to my mom and she was saying that she has bought a bunch of purple flowers this year too. So I don't know if that's just her and I like being just, you know, thinking the same and getting purple flowers. I mean, I always get, you know, some of the blue tones, purple flowers, but I feel like I've done quite a few this year. They've really been kind of calling to me, and it was interesting that she was saying the same thing. So I don't know if maybe the garden centers are marketing more purple flowers. Let me know. Do you have more blue and purple flowers this year, or is it just me? It might just be her and me. But anyways, I've been loving them. And I think that combination of any of those dark leaves, like with the dark purple flowers and then some kind of a pop of a red or an orange, really sets it off. And it's just a really, really pretty combination. Just that classic like opposites on the color wheel. You can't go wrong with it. Yeah. I really love that. I think once we get the Sunfinities opening up in this container, it's gonna pull the whole thing together, because these flowers are still so delicate. Like, I love this look. You could almost just do the 3 without the Sunfinity, but the delicateness of the Vermillionaire with the Calibrachoa, I think it needs the more full big heads of the sunflowers. I think once those open, that's going to be a stunner. That whole container is just going to be stunning. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. All right, let's talk about this raised bed. So again, same issue, didn't fill it all the way. I regret it. We've got, this is the Sunburst Patty Pan Squash, and so I don't know if it's because it's stuck so low in the container, it just doesn't look totally happy. This pepper has like shriveled up and died. I don't know what's going on with that. I did put in some sunflowers and some corn because I, again, couldn't help myself. And so I'll see, maybe those are gonna do better in this bed. It'll be interesting to see how they do. Some zinnias that are like finally putting on some growth. I do have a dahlia that's growing a bit, and we got this really pretty agastaki, but it looks like, just look at the leaves. I've been putting water soluble fertilizer in here and it's still just like, it's kind of fading. I may even pull this out honestly and throw it in a different container because I really want this plant to do well, and it's about to bloom. It's trying so hard, but it just looks so unhappy in this bed. Anyways, the tomatoes are growing up. They're kind of coming out of the bed. They also don't look as happy as some of my other tomatoes, but these are sun golds, so they're going to produce no matter what the conditions. And so they're producing. And I actually am getting some little beefsteak tomatoes starting. This is the black from Tula tomato, and look at that, it's going for it. It's trying. So I don't know, maybe this isn't a whole total wash, or maybe I just need to, like, I don't know. You know, I'm almost tempted to pull the whole thing out and start over, but I don't really know if that's worth it. I got these trough planters and I really love them. I got them so deep because I actually, next year when we move out of here, we're going to be moving to our more forever home, and in my permanent garden, I really want to have container ponds in galvanized containers. So I want to create 2 big beautiful container ponds with lots of lily pads and fish. So that was like my plan with these, and I've kept the drain plugs and everything because I'm preparing for that. So I think that part of that too is that I have this other vision for these containers. So all my efforts in them have been they've been sort of half-hearted because I'm just planning for the future. And that has been an interesting thing with this garden. Gardening in a temporary space that's not your forever home is just, it's different. If you're a renting gardener, you know, if you don't own your home, your space, you don't plan to stay long term, you probably know how this feels. Like, I know I'm leaving, so I'm already not invested in certain projects the same way. So I don't know. I guess there's not really much I can do for it. The things that I've kind of gone all in, like the kitchen garden bed, that was something I knew I could do this all annual. Well, the chives would last, and the strawberries, but mostly just like annual plants and, you know, just for fun. Like, I went all in, and the bed is doing so much better. Like, it's so much happier. And these, I kind of was like half-hearted, and I planted some seeds, and I was just getting started, and then I was thinking, oh, we're gonna be moving. And I think overall it ended up kind of, well, you can kind of see the difference, but it's part of it. I'm just gonna be happy with, I got a couple beds that really look good, and we'll switch out some of those plants. Like that pepper plant, I'm gonna probably pull out and just switch it out because I don't know what is happening with that. It's just, doesn't look good. But anyways, it's fully getting dark out here. Oh, look at that bishop's flower behind me. See, that was a vision. That was something that I did have in mind, and I love that. That makes me really, really happy. It looks like I'm out in the wild, just on a walk down a country road. But yeah, anyways, it's getting really dark out here. But I've been trying to find times, trying to work on my sound. I am an urban gardener. We have big highways and cars going by and neighbors and stuff. And so sound is kind of hard, and it's also hard with the wind. It's actually really windy here, which is interesting. So I've been trying to find times when it's not windy and not too loud and you can kind of hear me. So please forgive any of the background noises and things. Thank you. If you've stuck around this long, thank you so much for watching. Let me turn the camera around and give you one last look of the May garden. and before the sun goes down. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.